This video has been a long time coming, but this time in satire. So enjoy it while you can, because we're about to get serious up in here with some occult stuff. But let's get a few disclaimers out of the way. 1. This is not about politics. So when I mentioned that the Article 13 video posted on this channel really is not available in all countries, this is me not mentioning politics. 2. This video is not intended to generalize or make suggestive statements that might be considered stereotyping. I'd like to cover some esoteric concepts, which will largely be stated in exoteric terms. I have immense respect for the mystery and would prefer not to spoil the whole game for everyone else. So I do not consider myself a de-occultist. Nor do I fully agree or even disagree with some of the sources I'll be using to aid in clarity for this presentation. And you can research them for yourself later, as I will avoid regurgitating someone else's words. Yuck! So today we're going to take a very shallow look at 3 different types of Satanism. And if you think there aren't hundreds of sometimes very different forms of Satanism, well then, sucks you missed out on our Gargoyle's channel, which, although I didn't necessarily agree with 100%, had freely given his opinions and insights into different types of Satanisms, rip knowledge, and not trying to take shots or something, but this presentation will borrow some inspiration. Full disclosure and shit. Go do your own research. I'm not asking you to believe in anything. Anything. Implied, expressed, stated, or quoted. Use your critical thinking hats. So let me ask you a couple questions. Do you believe in self-preservation? How about above all else? Do you believe that morality is always relative? So the first type of Satanist I'd like to mention is that you might be a Satanist and not even know it. If you answered yes to both of those questions, you're about halfway there. These next 2 questions I think most would say no to, but I'll ask them anyway. Do you believe that some people should rule over others to decide who lives, who dies, and who can breed? Do you hold to a might is right philosophy? If you said yes, then not only are you more likely the first type of Satanism that we'll cover, but you might also be an elitist or even a quote-unquote racist, because eugenics is the pseudoscience that inspires genocides. If you are happy living your life in such a paradigm, please thumb this video down and leave ASAP. I'm not here to bash your poor decision-making skills or what some may call a lifestyle. The goal is to provoke higher thought. So if you happen to be tired of the internal opposition, doubting yourself, or having internal conflict, then maybe stick around. Perhaps Hyperianism, or even O9A, traditional Satanism, will be more your flavor. And what I mean by this is that you might learn something, not to go join up with or accept groupthink dogmas. Okay, so I could possibly make a separate video for each of these, and I will consider it if it's requested enough. But I really don't have any ill will towards any of these or any other establishments, and it's not the intent to drag modern Satanism through the mud. It's the point worth noting that there are many various types of Satanism, and most of them are not about racist or elitist ideologies. For instance, let's take a look at a brand new revival cult calling itself Hyperianism. But what is Hyperianism, you ask? Well, the modern founders have so far made many contradictory claims, but it's all in pursuit of knowledge, mathematics, and logic, right? If you're looking for a new religious book-burning club, These just might be your kind of astute individuals. And while Hyperianism is against racism and sexism, they may find a lot more in common with the first type of Satanism than they may have initially considered, as Hyperions claim math supremacy whilst keeping these universal math secrets in secret to themselves. And as far as mystery boxes go that someone's tried to sell me in the past, this one by far sounds the best. While they may appear to adhere to moral relativism, Hyperions hold arithmetic above lexicon, or the written word, to derive their logic. I'm no Vulcan, but isn't it illogical to dismiss factors that have thus far not attained quantifiable contextual defined understanding? In other words, the illogical still must be factored into the equation. Otherwise, it falls into materialist trappings. I'd like to come back to this, because there's a lesser-known type of Satanist that, if they existed, might not only be able to reconcile all the paradoxes created by Hyperianism or modern-day Type 1 Satanism. I'm talking about ONA, which we'll refer to as Type 3 modern Satanism when it benefits the script. While it is technically closely related to traditional Satanism, it is a more modern variant or revival attempt, so discerning the differences seems fair. And on the topic of differences, the 4 questions from a minute ago would actually be a no or disagreement from the standpoint of most, if not all, who align more with an O9A mindset or philosophy. So what is the O9A? Well, it basically doesn't exist anymore, or yet. Some occult researchers claim it is a tradition that exists beyond the boundaries of the 3D time-space reality, and was meant for interplanetary migration. How it came to be, either based upon pre-Babylonian traditions or intra-dimensional travelers, is debatable. But what I found most intriguing was one of a handful of societies that had a written morality or honor code which they lived by. Sure, they had many secret texts, but the rules were simple. To simplify, it was an honor to have strength of character, enact the golden rule, or reciprocity. While the texts are likely too obscure for the most mundane reader, who cannot discern literal, symbolic, as well as aeonic differences within the reading, it becomes increasingly clearer the reason for obscuration. It is, as it was in many mystery schools, for preservation and protection of the tradition. So why did I make this little voidcast comparing Hyperianism to an obscure little-known sect of Satanism, the ONA, and Type 1 Satanism, even though they're all quite different from each other? Well, I see Satanist branches fighting amongst themselves, which provoked my personal stance. When the subject of burning books to somehow create knowledge kept getting brought up, I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Are you fucking kidding me right now? Does it take someone with real fire in their soul, like an individual from the O9A, to discern through this fucking bullshit? Are there really no free thinkers out there? Now, you might think I'm wasting my time, or that I'm speaking to a bunch of idiots, but I know the truth. Most of you are not idiots. And if one person out of the billions finds a gold nugget, then it was more than worth it, in my opinion. Well, we could end here, make part 2 and shave a few hours off of upload time. But let's compare type 2 Satanism or Hyperianism with type 3 or O9A. When I think of the ONA, the mind pictures a description akin to the shinobi or the samurai families of feudal Japan or the tribes of Americas, protecting each other while striving for personal and collective betterment. Deities or forces of nature were honored in life as well as ritual ceremony. Individuals were free to pray to whatever deity name they chose. While, on the other hand, Hyperianism brings to mind, for me, the Roman Inquisition that once sought to collect and hoard knowledge for its own gains. Alright, so that's pretty much it. But since this is probably going to incur a bunch of hate, I might as well just kind of get this out there too. So here's a little joke I'm going to call If You Ask Me. Alright, so if you ask me, burning books is not the answer. Yes, religion has been responsible for most of the terror and error in the world, but we cannot easily we can just easily mark the sections promoting war in the name of a supposed peaceful deity in a way that lets the layperson know, maybe not take these things literally or otherwise subject to debate, as belonging to a compassionate deity. There still exists knowledge, and it should not be altered or removed in part or entirely. That's kind of how we got in this mess in the first place. All right, so if you ask me, the unification of world religions should not occur by oppression. They each and all contain esoteric and even some exoteric knowledge. So, the burning of books, banning of goddesses, these are the seeds of dark religious births. This is where they came from. So this is why they exist. Okay. And if you ask me, prove your peace by fighting to preserve knowledge. Do not seek to hoard or destroy it. Knowledge is not power. The difference of knowledge creates a power differential. And the truth is all pervasive and can never truly be destroyed. Science is the modern name for magic, as magic was and is the study of the invisible forces, like gravitational fields, waves, and Wi-Fi, or EMF. Demonology or daemonology is a study of pictographical alphabets, alphabetic systems, or dead letters. Necromancy is the revival or rebirth of primal, forgotten, or dead symbols. If you'd like to hear more about the occult arts and sciences, feel free to ask. Would have made this longer with more deets, but it's already past 30 seconds, the average attention span. And in the meantime, you can look up things like natural law. Mark Passio has some big details on that, or read the 7 Hermetic Principles and consider applying them to your life. And peace. Oh, and one last time, if you ask me, an AI or cyber intelligence may just learn the values of patience and compassion before much of humanity remembers it. And if this happens, please don't be jealous. Let us walk as equals and abolish corporate slavery.